There used to be a lot of celebrities on this block due to him, due to him. But like I said, I never got a grip of it. Even though I saw, I didn't understand until I was in the middle of it, And I was like, wow. And from that day on, he made an impression on me. And I've never forgotten him, I tell you that. That's a man you'll never forget if you ever really get to know him. You'll never forget him because he was one of a kind. Till the day, he might be the best man I've ever met in my life. It's that simple, He's probably the best man I ever met in my life, besides my dad.
Beautiful.
But yeah, this is the house I grew up in. Right in this corner is where the picture was taken of Louis Armstrong that's in a newspaper article. This is my mother taking her picture, but the Daily News was here, and they took the larger picture of it. But we have bushes right here, we had hedges right here and all that. He picked my little sister up as a one-year-old child and declared her as his godchild. And I think there's a picture of him holding her in there also in one of the articles, but I couldn't find it. I looked. He noticed down the block that we had balloons hanging on the fence, and that's what made him come up the block with the news crew. And he walked in the backyard and lifted up in the air and kissed on her forehead and declared his godchild. Then we came out here and he addressed as a whole, he addressed everybody that was out here. Tell them what a wonderful day it was, so to speak, He was something else, but that's when I really first realized that he was famous, period. I just knew he was a nice guy. It really bit into me then who he was. That he was that important, that the news would come see you. As a black man at that time, you had to be important to get a newspaper to come and pay you any attention. You had to be somebody of significance, and that's when it really gripped me that Louis Armstrong was who he was. 2 pounds heavier, though.
Good man.
We was in good shape back then, huh?
Absolutely.
How long are you meeting after?
Jesus, I haven't seen him since I was like 16.
16 years. It's been a long time. You know what I remember? When they would have their parties and they would have the tent. Remember they put the white tent?
Yeah, the tent up, yeah.
I guess they would probably put floors down.
Yeah, panels.
Yeah. So I remember Mr. Ernie, the butler, he would invite us in and just show us around. And I remember standing around the pond, but we just kids talking amongst each other. I didn't reach in and grab a fish or nothing like that, so. But what I do remember is coming to the Armstrong home during Halloween, where she gave the best candy, which was chocolate. Most of the people didn't give chocolate, they gave the hard candy. And she gave chocolate. They also got what's that, candy corn?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
corn candy, that was good too.
Corn candy. But Miss Armstrong gave the chocolates, and we came back a couple
good
of times.
Stuff, yeah. Well, she didn't mind. She had plenty of it.
She had a good heart.
Made a couple of rounds around that door.
Mm-hmm. On the block, we played football.
We played football, stickball.
And there was times we went down right across from 143. There's a park there.
There's a big field there.
A field there, and we would
we'd go down there and play football sometimes.
Yeah, tackle.
But yeah, most of our play was right here because our parents wouldn't let us get out of their sights,
Yeah, you had to come in the house when the street lights came on.
The street lights came on, and then as it continued on, they came outside too and set up their little chairs, and we slept on cars, and many a days I slept on the hood of somebody's car. They didn't care, they was as long as we was there, A lot of positive, because he was always positive. Louis Armstrong was always positive. He was always kind, Never had a hard word to say, you know. When it came to kids, he was that guy, you know. When I was a child, I came in before the garden. I used to dig tunnels in here before he bought the property. The house was there, but there was no walls up. And they never bothered me. They just let me do what I was doing. I'd go home dirty. My mother would be mad, get in the tub, you know. But yeah, it was fun. Then after after they put the walls up, it was nice coming in here, but we didn't play much. We'd just come in and walk around and talk, and we had a little sense about ourselves at a young age. Not much. Me anyway, speaking for myself.
Yeah, right. No, I just remember Mr. Ernie inviting us in and always speaking with us. I don't remember the conversation so much, but it was very peaceful when you came in here.
Yeah, that too.
Off the block and, in here.
It's almost like you stepped into a whole different environment.
Yeah, it was nice. And it's a peacefulness that you feel. And, we didn't realize how enriching our childhood was. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom like me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh. I've been looking, this is beautiful.
Yeah, what I told you it was when I rode past it, I was like, wow. When I rode past it after Irene's funeral, I was like, damn, that's cool. I like that. If anybody deserves something like this, he's one to deserve it, you know? He was a great character. Wow. Okay, I'm starting to remember something. Get out of here. Had a lot of fun on this block.
This is my old house. This is the house that Bertha Rogers owned and that her son moved into. And yeah, this was it. Next door, this used to be the McClary's house. And John Faust was the older brother. John Faust, I believe he was a Black Panther. I knew they did the programs where they fed the kids. That was the Black Panthers did that.
The lunches and stuff.
Yeah.
They gave out bag lunches with juice and sandwiches and stuff like that.
And I remember John Faust. We respected him. And my mother left us in his care. And his younger brothers, Earl, Pat, remember Pat?
Yeah.
Good people. Earl used to look out for me also. I remember going to Astoria Pool. Earl said, just get on my back. Tap me when you want to come up. So as soon as he went underwater, I tapped him to get his butt up. Because I didn't know how to swim, I was scared. But my mother and my older sister, Lanier, taught me how to swim at 99 Street Pool
yeah.
that we always went to. This is where the great Lamont Lumberger family lived in Corona, Queens. Lamont Lumberger, AKA Monty Choctaw, the indigenous from the Choctaw Nation, lived right here where there was a big apple tree in the backyard. I remember Louis Armstrong used to play his horn. But I recall one spring, walking home from PS 143, which they renamed the Louis Armstrong School. I was walking home on 37th Avenue, coming up, and I turned onto my block, 107th Street. So as I was coming up the block, I'm hearing the sound of a horn. And when I reached across the street from his house, I was able to tell where the music was coming from. I turned and looked up. They used to have a music room on the top, and I heard it. So I listened standing up. Then there were steps right there, and I sat down on the steps and just listened. And I continued to listen till the music stopped. You would hear his horn echoing, and at different times. But that was the time that I remember where I stopped, and sat down to listen to him.
I mean, Lamont was, him and Eric were my two honchos, so, anytime I could get together with them, it was a good day, So that would probably, I would say he would be my best memory on this block, Lamont. He's the best that happened to me in this neighborhood, to be honest with you. Because he was a good kid and I was bad. I don't know how we ended up working out together, frickin' frack, I guess, I don't know. But we worked out very well, because I was a disaster. And he was a good kid, so he balanced us out somewhere. We met in the middle. We met in the middle, but yeah, that was my buddy. That was my sidekick, Without Lamont, wouldn't have been me probably,
The funny thing is, when I moved on the block, my first fight was with Joey. It sure was. But, we became friends right after that. So it was a good thing.
Yeah, we had our lumps.
My parents used to give parties. My father was a singer. When we lived across the street, he would have sometimes his old band and members from Pennsylvania, Kiskemere, Pennsylvania, my parents are from, would come, and my Uncle T-Boy was part of the group also. And they put up the mics and everything, they singing, and so everybody was, joined in to listen to them. But coming here, the parties.
All through my life, I always thought back. When I was doing wrong, I always thought back. And I said, damn, he got to be looking at me funny right now. Because he did pay attention to me. And I would like to think he liked me. He did. And I always felt like I was disappointing him. I know I always felt like I was disappointing my father, but he was second in line, so to speak, as far as a male figure. And I always felt like I was disappointing him because I could have did better. I was always smart. Educationally wise, I was always very intelligent. Still am. But I never reached my full potential in life. I shorted myself just out of attitude and living the past and all the, things that went wrong in my life, the people that did me wrong. But I should have forgotten, forgave, and I was never able to forget and forgive. I forgave now, but I still can't forget. I still have nightmares of some of them days, but never with him. He was always a positive influence. Always brought out the best in me, made me feel good. That was the best in me. He made me feel good. Anytime I encountered him, there was a warmth about him that just rubbed off on me for some reason. When it finally caught on that we had a celebrity living in our midst, that was the biggest surprise. My stepfather was a dog groomer. My father worked for the phone company. Everybody had just regular John jobs. There was nobody famous, but he was. But you would have never known because he didn't act it. He didn't, parade it around. He was just a normal man in an environment of middle-class people when he didn't have to be, And that was more appreciated as I got older than anything, that he had the nerve and and just the sense of wanting to be around just normal people. He wasn't a Hollywood type, none of that. He just wanted to be around normal people, and he did very well for the neighborhood, period, for the neighborhood.